Hi, my name is Bob Brader, and I am the writer and performer of the award-winning show Smoker, the totally true story of my 28-year love affair with smoking and how we broke up. I called the show Smoker because for many years, that was my identity. At its core, Smoker is about love, communication, and my tireless quest to quit smoking. I talk about the fact that smoking is not a habit, but an addiction. And in doing so, I found that not only smokers, but people with other addictions relate to the show very strongly. We've toured the show all over the US and Canada to amazing reviews, and I've been honored after many shows to have people come up to me and tell me about their struggles and successes with battling addiction. Over the course of a year, I performed the show numerous times as part of a smoking cessation program in Long Island, New York. It was a huge success, and it helped people look at quitting in a different way. With Smoker, we've teamed up with nonprofit organizations like the American Cancer Society and the Canadian Lung Association to raise funds and awareness. We do dynamic talkbacks, expert panel discussions, community engagement, master classes, and workshops. I hope you enjoyed these highlights from the show.
As I was smoking what I felt would be my final cigarette outside of my new apartment, an older lady walked past me and said those words that smokers hate. "Don't you know those things will kill you?" Why do people say that? Look, of course I know smoking isn't good for me. I know it can kill me. It says so right on the package. Look, when you're a smoker, you know the risks. You just don't want to think about it all the time. Especially when you're smoking. I mean, no smoker wants to look at the cigarette they're smoking and think, is this the one that'll kill me? Or will it be the next one that'll be just one too many? And then I hear the smoker voice in my head. It's my voice. It's the same voice that tells me to pull my hand away from the flame or that I have an itch that needs to be scratched. Okay, that's done. Let's go smoke. Come on, it'll be great. Hey, remember how good that last cigarette was, huh? This one's going to be even better. I don't know why you're ignoring me. Look, you know you're going to smoke again. You might as well have one now and feel better. Why wait to feel good? Hey, do it for yourself. You know what? You deserve this. Okay. Just know I am going to fuck with you every 10 or 15 minutes until you smoke. Just know your life would be better if you smoke. A nicotine fit is overpowering at times, and I have to sit down and let it pass. And that usually calms the smoker voice. You know, it's not just wanting to smoke. It's an anxious feeling of the need to smoke. Another horrible part about the first few days is not being able to sleep. Now this is a side effect I never heard of. I toss and turn all night. Being in public is even worse. Everywhere I go, people are smoking. I have never noticed so many people smoking in my whole life. My friends who smoked got the brunt of my anger. You were just outside smoking, weren't you? I can fucking smell it on you. It's disgusting. Don't you know those things will kill you? My father was furious that I was smoking. You know, I worried for a while that he just may make me eat or smoke a whole pack. But then that year for Christmas, he got me the only Christmas present he ever got me. You know, my mom bought all the Christmas presents. My father hated Christmas. But that year, he got me a carton of cigarettes. It was a turning point for me. You know, I was no longer the good boy. I was a man who smoked. Smoking also helped with the fear. You know, it calmed me down. And while the fear was still around, you know, smoking helped subdue it, if only for a little while. It also became the thing that bonded our family. I mean, it truly was the only thing we did together as a family. We sat around, we watched TV, and we smoked together. It's the only time I ever felt any kind of connection with my father. I'm also looking at it as a learning experience. I don't know anything about drugs, except for a few films I saw in the 4th grade. You know, they were designed to scare you away from ever doing drugs. They sure did scare the hell out of me. The one that stood out in my mind was with this guy who smoked something. They never say what drug it is. And then looked in a mirror and saw himself as a woman with snakes for hair. This freaked him out so much that he shot himself. After watching that film, I was a bit confused. Everyone talks about drugs as being fun, but that sure didn't seem like fun to me. I wanted to learn more, and what could it hurt to go to a druggie's house and hang out with him for a while? These people accept me. Somehow I have snuck in under the radar and am now one of them. The pipe goes around again and I'm not feeling anything at all. Sarah takes her hit and blows it in my face with a little giggle. I take my hit. This time it's not too bad. I only cough a little bit. I am starting to think there's nothing to this whole pot smoking thing. But then, things turned. Cliff put on a new album, and this one is weird. I fucking love Floyd, Brian said as he took another hit. Pink Floyd. That's the music drug addicts listen to. Is that what's going to happen to me? Is that going to become my new identity? From the goody-goody narc to the druggie? I pictured myself in a large army jacket. Just then, the stereo screamed out, "Hey, you." Is the stereo talking to me? It knows I don't belong here. I'm starting to freak out, trying to grasp onto some sense of what is really happening, telling myself to just calm down. The room is deathly quiet. And then I hear, "Is there anybody out there?" And just keeps repeating this over and over again. The sound is coming from everywhere in the room. I have to get out of here. I'm going to freak out in front of all of these people. Why did I ever think I was cool? I don't belong here. I have to admit, I was quite content to be a smoker. Most of my acting friends smoked, and I felt like I had found my group. My people! And I belonged. But slowly, things started to change. People were becoming more health conscious, and fewer people were smoking. When I went to Disney World, I found I could only smoke in certain hidden, out-of-the-way places in the park. I felt like they were trying to shame me for being a smoker. Like my smoking is going to destroy the happiest place on earth. And then on March 29th, 2003, a day that will live in infamy for most smokers in NYC, came the smoking ban. No more smoking in bars and restaurants in New York City. I was working for a restaurant bar called Sam's in the theater district at the time. And at 11:58 p.m., we all light a cigarette and curse the ex-smoker, Michael Bloomberg, for taking away our smoky bar just because he didn't want to smoke anymore. Most of our anger came from the fact that he still smoked cigars, but didn't have a problem with the cigar bar staying open. However, after the ban, I noticed even more people quitting smoking. And while I respected their decision and their ability to do it, I had no desire to quit. Even when I found myself being the sole smoker in many shows, my desire lived on. Look, I am not a quitter. I light what I feel will be my final cigarette. And I stare at that cigarette and think, how can something so tiny have such a hold on me? Look at how small and insignificant you are. Hey, I am more powerful than you. I know I am. Take another drag. Start to feel really good about my decision. Hey, I am going to be healthier and stronger without you. Take my last drag. Drop the cigarette into the Dixie cup I'm using as an ashtray. As soon as that cigarette fizzes out in the water at the bottom of the cup, a wave of panic washes over me. I'm out of cigarettes. Holy shit! That really was my last smoke! Why the hell did I stare at it for so long? How many drags just burned away? I should be able to have a do-over. How am I going to be able to function without my morning coffee and cigarette breakfast? How am I going to be able to write without my smokes? How am I going to be able to perform without my post-show and pre-show smoke? Not to mention the added euphoria of the after-sex cigarette. This is a terrible idea. What the hell am I thinking? And the smoker voice in the back of my head just keeps repeating over and over. You will never feel that good again. You will never feel that good again. Suzanne and I sit down and wait. I'm a bit nervous. I've never been hypnotized before. He comes out of his room and he is not what I am expecting at all. He's a huge man in a sweater and khaki pants. When I first thought about coming to see a hypnotist, I had images of Johnny Carson's Karnak or the amazing Kreskin. You know, big, confident, powerful. I seem to have a mix between Mr. Rogers and Jabba the Hutt. I'm starting to have my doubts. Hello, you must be Bob. His voice is high and squeaky. Again, nothing like I expected. I am starting to think this is a big waste of time and money. I am inches away from backing out as he leads me into his hypno room. It is also nothing like I expect. I mean, there's no turning spirals or watches. It looks like a den. Nothing special at all. For 3 years after the hypnosis, I feel great. I didn't need to smoke. No cravings, no desires, no feelings of loss for being a non-smoker. However, when my stress level would get to be a bit too much, my smoker voice would wear me down, and then I did start thinking about my Camel Light. And on 1 or 2 occasions, I did bum a smoke off of someone. And every time I did it, I regretted it. I mean, it wasn't the same. It tasted terrible, and the smell stayed on my clothing, my hair, and my hands. It was like seeing that old girlfriend that you still want to be with, but you know in your heart it's over. You've moved on, and she's still the same, and you know she always will be. For 3 years, I was stronger without her than I was with her. About a half an hour later, I noticed out of the corner of my eye the gathering. It's something us smokers have a sixth sense about. Now, we can tell when a group of people are just gathering to talk or gathering to smoke. It's all just a bit too much for me. A little too stressful. I walk over to one of the smokers and ask to bum one. In a flash, his box of Marlboros is open and he hands me one. I put it to my lips, his Zippo ignites with a click, and I inhale. She is here for me. I need her, and she is here, making me feel totally relaxed, even in this highly stressful situation. I get up, and the cop comes over and puts his hand on my shoulder. 2 very important things. 1, whenever you get behind the wheel, always check your mirror. Should be the first thing you do. And 2, never drive angry. Sure way to get yourself in trouble. Now you seem okay to drive. I'm going to let you go. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I get back in the car and Suzanne is freaking out. What's going on? Are you going to prison? What's happening? It's fine. Everything is fine. I start the car and start driving up the road, and the cop follows us all the way just to make sure I'm telling the truth. As we turn into the hotel parking lot, he honks as he drives by. Communication is more than just talking. It's about knowing the person you're communicating with. Suzanne is yelling loud and clear that she needs me by her side in order to make it through this painful event. So, for the rest of the trip, I slow my smoking down. Because I realize that Suzanne needs me more than I need my Camel Lights. But most of all for me, I didn't want to lose the only connection I had with him. We never shared a cigarette together, but we smoked together. It's the only thing he and I ever really did together. After all the beatings and the lies and the betrayal and how much I grew to hate him, I still long for any kind of connection to that man I called my father. He died in 2003 at the age of 58 of a massive heart attack, mostly due to smoking. When I used to look back at that little boy, I used to feel sorry for him. But today, I realized how resourceful he was. How he could have turned that anger and bitterness on others or on himself, but instead chose to ride it off on his bike. The bike that he loved. I look back at him, and I'm proud of him. And I also start to feel proud of myself for, at least right now, being able to leave the cigarettes behind.